Hi, just welcome to HeKate's Crossing. It's a little bit of a coffee time before the end of the evening. I have gone through and sort of explained a little bit about who I am and that on Instagram, and explained a little bit about my journey over the last how it began 20 years ago in regards to picking up Anne Mora's book Green Witchcraft, and then being able to sort of devour new books by Silver Raven Wolf, and really sort of start to get into witchcraft magazines. Really starting to look at my journey in a new light. That was over 20 years ago. It's hard to believe the last 20 years has been in so many different pathways. I've moved and changed in so many ways. It's quite incredible, really, when you think about the journey that I've actually taken, and working with the different tarot decks I have over time, different oracle decks, the different books I've read. I've learned a lot about all sorts of things, but still continually learning. I mean, that's the thing, even after 20 years, I've only just scratched just a very small amount of the knowledge that's out there. There's just so much when you look at the runes, and I sort of would like to explore a bit more about the elements, and really look at a bit more about crystals. I mean, really, I know very basic stuff in regards to crystals. I mean, I know little bits and pieces, but there's still so much out there, and still so much yet to discover. You look at the different tarot decks that are out there, and the different Lenormand and Baleen and Kipper, and different oracle decks that are out there, and the different types of tarot decks. And yes, there's like the tarot set meanings depending on what card you've got and what suit and what position and all that sort of stuff. But each artist is creating decks that are quite unique and quite different, and bring in different aspects in regards to astrology, and with planet influences and Kabbalah, and which pathway they are. And I mean, there's so much more. And then there's colour can play a huge amount in tarot readings and things like that, with what that means. And then there's different symbols. They'll use different things, whether it'll be butterflies or hats and colours and feathers and horses. I mean, there's different images in the cards which bring a slightly different message to the overall image of the card. So there's a lot to learn when you start exploring different tarot decks and oracle decks, and Kipper. Well, Kipper is basic set meanings. Lenormand have set meanings. Baleen have set meanings. But yet they open themselves to, I think you can start to look at the overall picture of a reading, and the feeling might be slightly different. Even though each card has its set meaning, the overall feeling could be slightly different. So that's interesting to sort of look into and see within the different things. The different types of healings that are available. I've learned so much in regards to Reiki and chakra realignment, soul energy clearing, universal balance and universal linking. There's the transcendental healing. There is angelic ray healing, blue lotus chakra realignments. That can be done. Crystal healing and crystal Reiki is done in so many different ways, depending on how you want to work. Colour healing is used in so many different ways. Hands on, hands off. The way you move your hands, the way you stand, the tools you use, the deity that you call upon. There's all those aspects, or the entity. There's all those things that come into play when you're looking at different healing techniques. So there's quite a lot to learn when you start getting into the different aspects. Then you start working with the witchcraft side of things. The Wicca stuff for me has been a real personal journey. I haven't put a lot of that online. I've kept that quite private. I've shared a few little bits and pieces in regards to different chants and different rituals and little bits and pieces, different books I've liked, and shared a little bit about my altar and stuff like that on Instagram or Twitter, but I haven't spoken a lot about my witchcraft. It's been quite a very personal journey for me in the way I have worked in with others at times, but mainly my work, my witchcraft is very solitary. I don't have a huge amount of ceremonial aspect to it, but there are times when I will create a ritual in a more ceremonial way, but it's very personal. It's very one-on-one, or sometimes it is with a partner in some ways, depending on the season or the Sabbath that we are actually celebrating, or the rites of passage can be quite personal. Witchcraft, to me, there are so many different aspects of it. There's no right and wrong. It's so very personal. And in which gods or goddesses that you work with is also very personal. It's about having, when you're working with the different gods and goddesses from different pantheons, I think it's very much about working with a sacredness, a reverence to the pantheon that you're actually working with. Are you working with Greek gods and goddesses, or Roman gods and goddesses, or the Japanese gods and goddesses, or you look at the New Zealand, the Maori gods and goddesses, the Aboriginal gods, goddesses, the Native American, or the Mayan, or the Aztec, or you've got the Celtic, or Pictish, very much the Scottish gods and goddesses, Irish gods, goddesses, maybe the European gods and goddesses, those of the land. I think it's very much about when you decide which god or goddess that you're working with, or which pantheon you're actually working with, you actually research, or they come to you in a meditation and say, hey, you're working with me, hey, go and do some research, find out as much as you can, find out about the sacredness, the reverence of that culture, and come with it from a sense of the heart, respect. For me, it's been learning a lot about the Native American teachings. To me, has been very sacred, and there's also been a part of me that's been very much interested in the Tantra and the Kama Sutra, but not in a sexual way, but more of a lifestyle. Choices in the connection with the energy, the mudras, with the hand positions, the also learning very much about the chants, the energy of the gods and the goddesses. I mean, I love working with Kali at times because she's a real mother in regards to protecting her children, but she does destroy those things that are no longer good for us, and allows us to be the creator into something new. So I love working with Kali as a goddess. Her energy and her vibration is just very protective, very firm, but very loving. And of course Hecate being the goddess. I haven't really talked much about how she arrived in my journey. It is on my blog, but I was working with Vesta, the Roman goddess of the hearth, and over time things have changed, developed, I've grown over the last 20 years. So Vesta felt that she had done all she could with me, and it was time for her to take a step back, and that someone new would arrive. A few days later, Hecate arrived in a dream, and very clearly with her white hounds, she stood at the crossroads, and very clearly gave me the signs of signage showing different ways, different directions. Are we to go forward? Are we to go back? Are we to go left or right? Or are we to stand right on the crossroads and not make a decision? I mean, it's totally up to us where we are. in our life, and Hecate said to me that really it's about choices, and also about giving us guidance, direction of which direction to go, and what we do with it is totally up to us. She's very firm in her direction. When working with Hecate, I find that she is very direct, but also there's a sense of motherhood, very protective, and I love working with Hecate. I love working with the lunar energies, and that whole sense of, again, being maiden, mother and crone, and am I moving through from, I'm getting a little bit into that age group now where I'm starting to get into that, working towards being a crone, and for me that's very much about how am I teaching others, how am I mentoring others. I mean, I have been mentoring for some time, but yet again, there's still so much, I'm still learning so much, so it's about, as I receive the knowledge and being able to share it is really valuable for me. So I think that's why Hecate has come into my journey right now, and it's just allowing me to focus on new possibilities, there's always new crossroads. I'm always standing at a fork of a road and saying, which direction am I now moving, left or right? There is a sense of, for me, my ritual work is certainly taking on a new aspect in regards to where I'm headed and with what I'm doing with my life. So there's definitely some huge changes coming up for me, which is quite exciting. I may or may not, depending on what I'm allowed to share and what I'm not. I mean, some of the stuff's pretty private, pretty intimate. There are been huge things, because like I said, you know, Hecate came into my life, and I just thought, I'm on this journey. Here I'm on my own. I'm a single woman. I can have a bit of fun. I can just get on with my life, and I don't need a man. I hope that knows it's all good. And all of a sudden, I had done all that energy work with releasing some of those old thought patterns in regards to me being adopted, which I don't talk about too often, but I was adopted. And so I think there has been this sense underlining in the cells in regards to abandonment, and hence why in relationships where past relationships have not been that great. So I felt, this is time in my life now. I'm independent. I've got my 3 kids to think about. I don't need to think about having a man in my life. Well, things change, and snuck up, and I've got the most amazing soul now walking beside me in my journey. Now, this is not about owning each other. This is not about being possessive. This is about respecting each other for who we are as individuals, and knowing there are moments when we need to have our solitude. We need to have our time apart, but there's also times when we actually want to be together, which is really awesome. This relationship has definitely only been very short term, but yet it seems to be moving quite quickly, and in a gentle way. It's not a huge, full-on way, but very gentle, very loving relationship. So really awesome movement in that direction, which is quite a bit different. I didn't expect to sort of share that on thing. I'm just sort of getting the stuff through. Also, too, I had a lot of physical decks and things put to storage and haven't been returned to me, so I'm slowly building up my collection again. A lot of the decks that I share are ones that I've got online or on my computer, thank goodness, that I actually managed to keep those ones online. Also, the decks that I've created myself, there's been a whole lot of tarot, oracle, Lenormand, Beline decks that I've actually created myself, which you can actually download. Free download. I don't have a problem with the way you use them. Check out my blog. Look, there's like 20 decks that you can, tarot and oracle and Lenormand decks that you can just download for fun and just either print them out yourself and use them, or use them on, if you've got an orphalease.net or something similar type of software, use it, have fun. You know, it's the best, it's a good thing to do, just to, you know, just to enjoy a bit of the, a bit of abstract art, if you like. Some of them are photos as well, so there's a few decks with photos and things that you can use. So yeah, a lot of it's very personal journey stuff for me. My digital art was very personal in being created, very healing. I've used lots of different editing programs and created all sorts. So when you see some of my art, it's about taking a breath. Go and have a look at some of the art videos that I've put on previous, you know, some of my early videos were art ones. Take a moment, take a breath, have a look through. There may be something that sort of resonates with you. Take a moment and see what answers come through for you. Very personal. Oh, well, I've just shared another whole lot of 15 odd minutes of bits and pieces of rambling and sort of a little bit about getting to know who I am as an individual. It's been a huge journey for me to release and let go of some of those past hurts, past wounds. Have been in mental abusive relationships, you know, with guys who have been very controlling. So this is very new to have someone who's very supportive and very loving in my life, who also respects my children, which is a big plus for me. I think that's very important, that when you're in a relationship with someone new, that they actually respect your children and who they are and how you as a parent choose to parent them and not be critical. So I'm just loving this new journey that lies ahead, and I'm looking forward to sharing more videos with you on my channel as I share more reads, more healing info, bits and pieces. Look, if there's anything of interest that you want to know more about in regards to what's on my blog, certainly give me a yell or give me a text or DM, a message. Anything like that, email or message me through my web blog, anything, just to sort of say, hey, look, can we discuss such and such? I'm interested in learning this. If you're interested in a reading from me or a healing session, please do not hesitate to contact me in any way. I love to sort of get an overview of how I can help you the best possible way. Each of you as individuals will need something different. So I think that's really important for you to know that no two healing sessions will ever be exactly the same. They're always going to be different because each healing session is customized to you as an individual. Okay, I think I've rambled enough. I mean, it's 18 minutes of blabbering. So take care and blessed be.